It is time to talk some Miami football. We do so with Cam Underwood from State of the U. You can join him on SB Nation's platform for Miami Athletics. And the record's been perfect since week one, Cam, but that was a near perfect performance on Saturday night against Notre Dame. How do you in any way capsulize what transpired there?
First of all, thanks for having me back. Secondly, that was just awesome from front to back. You know, I got to the stadium nice and early, hit a couple tailgates, met a couple State of the U readers, people who even watch these videos. So that was pretty cool. Didn't get to meet everybody because, you know, there's only one of me and a lot of them. But that's a good thing, you know, that we have people, you know, reading and watching and everything. But from the moment that I got there, you could just feel the electricity in the air. A couple of my friends were like, no, I'm very, like, calm about the game. They were like, yeah, no, they were more confident going into the Notre Dame game than the week previous against Virginia Tech because we'd seen the talent and performance of this team already. And we just came out and smacked them. It was so good. It was surreal. Almost, because, you know, Miami's been through a lot, man. You know, the last half of Larry Coker's tenure was bad. Randy Shannon's entire tenure was bad. Al Golden's pretty much entire tenure was bad. So you're talking 11, 12, 13 years since you've seen something like that. And it was crazy. It was the loudest that Hard Rock Stadium has ever been. A couple of journalists even tweeted, like, you know, full-time beat writers, you know, they said, hey, the press box is shaking. And the press box doesn't overhang anything. It's not like it's an upper deck and it's doing one of these. It's part of the full construction. So that means the whole stadium was doing this, just up and down. Yeah, and it was awesome, man. I mean, I'm not saying that this team is as talented or they're not performing to the same level as a 2001 Miami team. But that performance was like a 01, 02 Miami, a team with high ranking, with all this bravado, Brandon Wimbush talking stuff. You saw whichever one of their coaches was talking bad and cussing the whole team out, talking about F the turnover chain, F this, F that, we're going to go F them up. And it was the exact opposite. And Miami has not seen anything like that in a long time. And it really, and I was sitting with my buddy in the stands, and I turned to him and I said, this feels like 2001. And he's not from Miami. He's just a Miami fan. It was his first game ever, actually. So he looked at me and said, wait, what? And I said, dude, I'm telling you, back when I was in undergrad, like, this is what it felt like every week. And it was phenomenal. I mean, that whole first half, and I think we left about 20 points on the board in the first half between just some misplays and, you know, that second play of the game interception, which was right there, and we didn't get it. And that would have been, you know, you could count that as 7 points. And I just remember because where I was sitting was behind the Notre Dame offense in that second quarter. So they're going to the west side. And on that pick six, I started screaming before he even threw the ball because you could see it from where I was sitting that they're playing zone, hanging back, and he bandy baited the whichever that was booked, the backup quarterback, baited him into it, sat there like a panther in waiting, and he looked over to that one open receiver, and I just said, oh, and I'm just screaming, and you just saw it, and the whole place went absolutely bananas. It was rocking, it was jumping, that was all of everything that we've been through made that moment so sweet. Like 48-0 in the last game at the Orange Bowl, and 58-0 to Clemson, and, you know, losing 9-6 to South Florida, you know, like 6 years ago or 7 years ago. All that stuff, that was the cathartic experience that was needed to just get that off of our conscience, off of our psyche, and just dominate and dance at somebody else's expense. And some of the likes of Notre Dame, who I hate, and almost got ejected from that stadium last year, got racially profiled, almost got into like a couple of fights that weren't my fault, but just people were, you know, whatever, they're going to buck up at me. I'm not going to say, oh, you know, I'm not going to power, but like, yo, like I almost got into a couple of fights, all this. I hate them. I've never liked them. And we do that to them. It was just awesome. I mean, yeah, it was just awesome.
So 01, 02, 03 started a bit of a decline, but still a very good team. So not even the Florida State games, even during that time between 03 and 17? Is there that kind of juice?
No, because we only won a couple of those. Like the last time that we won against Florida State prior to this year was 2009 up in Tallahassee. So we haven't seen a win down here against them in a long, long time. And those games had juice, but it was like, oh, we had a loss or two maybe. The last time that we played them when Duke Johnson broke his leg and we're 7-0, we were up there in 2013, I think that was. So, like, it was, I mean, Florida State has its own different vibe. It's going to be, you know, maybe more Florida State fans. I mean, it was definitely more Florida State fans than there were Notre Dame fans. Rick Neuheisel, I mean, I don't know what he was on then to think that it would be a 50-50 split between Miami fans and Notre Dame fans this week. I think that's just asinine and ridiculous. It was 95% Miami fans with a couple. I mean, I think I saw 40 maybe Notre Dame fans, and it was a complete sellout. So, I mean, yeah, well, you're going to have more Florida State fans because you have people who live down here. Florida State fans are also, I'm going to give them credit, because in the even years, they buy season tickets to Miami games, so that even if they're not scalping or whatever for like the one games ticket, you can get season tickets for way lower than you would have gotten a StubHub ticket to the Notre Dame game. And, you know, like it's usually that kind of price point and things like that. So you're going to have more, and it has its own energy. It's a different kind of energy because you play them all the time. You have this back and forth. Usually, obviously, you know, we're coming off a long losing streak to them and have finally won this year. But it was a different experience this year. It was, I mean, just when you got in the parking lot, it was the whole fan base that was there was all, we were ready to be in full throat, full voice cheering. Like, and it was just, you know, it was like a wild stallion and you're just holding the reins back. And it was just like the first play that happened, you're just going to let that go. And it's similar to the Florida State Miami game down here in Hard Rock and things like that. But I think that this week was a different animal. Yeah, I think it was a different animal than that. So, you know, obviously, if Florida State's good next year when they come down here, I think it might be a similar kind of scenario. But, yeah, this one was an epic performance on the field and then also just in the fan kind of perception and energy, too.